The alarm bells rang through the space station, and Kim Jae-woo jumped from his bed. His heart was beating fast because today was the big day. 3 years of waiting and planning had led to this moment. The alien ship was finally coming to meet them. Jae-woo ran to the window of his small room and looked out into the black space. He could see a huge silver ship moving toward their station. It was 10 times bigger than anything humans had ever built. The ship looked like it was made of liquid metal that moved and changed shape. As he watched, he quickly put on his blue uniform and checked his reflection in the mirror. His hands were shaking a little, but he tried to look calm today. He would meet real aliens for the first time, not just any aliens, but the Villani, who were famous across the galaxy for being super smart and making amazing technology. The hallways of Orbital Station Harmony were full of people running around. Everyone was excited and nervous at the same time. Scientists carried their equipment while security guards checked their weapons. Jae-woo walked toward the main docking bay where the meeting would happen. Dr. Park Min-soo was already there waiting. She was the smartest person Jae-woo knew about alien life and cultures. She had spent years studying everything about the Villani, from old videos and reports that other species had shared. Min-soo looked at Jae-woo with serious eyes. "Remember what I told you about their culture?" she said. "The Villani do not like to be touched. They think touching is very personal and intimate. They only touch family members or very close friends. If you touch them without permission, it could make them very angry or scared." Jae-woo nodded and tried to remember all the rules they had learned. The Villani were tall and had blue-silver skin. They moved very slowly and gracefully like dancers. Their technology was so advanced that humans looked like cave people compared to them. But they had agreed to work together on this mission because both species would benefit. The mission was simple in theory, but hard to do. A massive space relay had broken down in deep space. This relay helped ships travel between star systems quickly. Without it, both humans and Villani would have to take much longer routes for trade and communication. The relay was in a very dangerous area full of radiation and space debris. Only by working together could they fix it. Suddenly the station shook gently as the alien ship connected to their docking port. Everyone became quiet. The moment they had all been waiting for was finally here. The heavy metal doors of the docking bay began to open with a loud hissing sound. Steam came out of the opening, and through the white clouds Jae-woo saw them. The Villani were even more amazing in person than in any video he had seen. They were almost 8 feet tall with long, thin arms and legs. Their skin seemed to glow with a soft blue light. Their heads were larger than human heads, and their eyes were huge and silver. They moved like they were floating instead of walking. Their environmental suits were incredible works of art. The suits seemed alive with patterns of light that flowed across the surface. Like water, the technology was so advanced that Jae-woo could not even guess how it worked. The leader of the Villani group stepped forward. She was slightly shorter than the others, but carried herself with obvious authority. Her environmental suit had more complex light patterns that seemed to pulse with her heartbeat or breathing. "This is Commander Hana," said the computer voice that translated her words. "She is the chief engineer of their expedition. Her knowledge of space technology is considered exceptional even among her own people." Commander Hana looked at each human in the docking bay. Her large silver eyes seemed to see everything at once when her gaze met Jae-woo. He felt like she was reading his thoughts. Her expression was calm but distant, like she was looking at interesting but simple creatures. The formal introductions began. Each person stated their name and job. The translation computers worked perfectly so everyone could understand each other. Commander Hana spoke in a voice that sounded like music even when talking about technical things. She explained how their environmental suits worked and what equipment they would need for the mission. Jae-woo was amazed by the complexity of their technology. The Villani suits had neural interfaces that connected directly to their brains. The suits could analyze dangerous environments and protect the wearer automatically. They had built-in computers that were more powerful than anything on the human space station. But as Commander Hana explained the technical details, Jae-woo noticed something strange. She kept reaching behind herself, trying to touch something on the back of her suit. Her long arms could almost reach, but not quite. She did this several times during her explanation, but never said anything about it. The briefing continued for 2 hours. They discussed the dangerous radiation around the broken relay, the complex repairs that would be needed, and how the two teams would work together. Commander Hana was clearly brilliant. Her understanding of space technology was far beyond anything Jae-woo had learned in engineering school. When the briefing ended, everyone began preparing for the mission. The dangerous area around the relay meant that all team members needed to wear special environmental suits that could protect them from deadly radiation. Without these suits, any living creature would die in minutes. Jae-woo watched as the humans helped each other put on their suits. It was normal for them to check each other's equipment and make sure all the connections were secure. Human teamwork had always involved helping each other with gear and equipment, but the Villani team was different. Each alien worked alone on their own suit. They did not help each other or ask for assistance. This was clearly part of their culture that Dr. Park had warned about. They valued independence and self-sufficiency above cooperation. As Jae-woo finished putting on his own suit, he looked over at Commander Hana. She was still struggling with something on the back of her environmental suit. Her face showed frustration, but she continued trying to reach the connections herself. Her pride was clearly preventing her from asking for help. The safety officer announced that everyone needed to complete their suit checks before they could enter the dangerous mission area. Anyone with incomplete connections or faulty equipment would have to stay behind. This was not just a rule, but a matter of life and death. Jae-woo could see that Commander Hana was having real problems with her suit. Without all connections properly made, her advanced life support systems would not work in the deadly environment they were about to enter. But her culture prevented her from asking for help, and none of her own team members offered assistance. The moment stretched on, and Jae-woo realized that the success of the entire mission might depend on what happened next. If Commander Hana could not complete her suit preparation, the Villani team might withdraw from the mission entirely. 3 years of planning and the hopes of both species hung in the balance. He looked at Dr. Park, who had noticed the same problem. Her eyes showed concern but also curiosity about what would happen. This was clearly a test of everything they had learned about working with alien cultures. The next few minutes would determine whether humans and Villani could truly work together, or if their cultural differences were too great to overcome. Jae-woo watched Commander Hana struggle with her environmental suit and felt his stomach twist with worry. The Villani leader was clearly having trouble with the connections on her back, but her pride prevented her from asking for help. Every few seconds, she would reach behind herself and try to connect something, but her long arms could not quite reach the right spot. Dr. Park moved closer to Jae-woo and whispered very quietly, "This is a critical moment. If we do nothing, she might not be able to join the mission, but if we offer help, we might offend her and ruin everything. The cultural rules are very clear about not touching them." But Jae-woo could see the frustration growing in Commander Hana's silver eyes. Her suit was making soft beeping sounds that probably meant something was wrong. The other Villani team members were finishing their own preparations, but they followed their cultural rules and did not offer to help. Their leader, the safety officer, was getting ready to do the final equipment check. In just a few minutes, everyone would need to have working suits or they could not enter the dangerous mission area. Jae-woo realized that Commander Hana might fail the safety check and the entire mission could be cancelled. His human instincts told him to help immediately. Humans always help teammates with their equipment. It was natural and normal, but the cultural briefings had been very clear. The Villani viewed physical contact as extremely personal and intimate. Touching someone without permission could be seen as rude or even aggressive. Jae-woo looked around the docking bay. The other humans were watching the situation with growing concern. They could all see what was happening, but nobody knew what to do. The Villani team members seemed unaware of their leader's problem or were choosing to ignore it because of their cultural rules. Commander Hana made another attempt to reach the connections on her back. This time, Jae-woo could see exactly what the problem was. There were several fiber optic cables that needed to be plugged into ports along her spine. The connections controlled her suit's life support and communication systems. Without them, she would be helpless in the dangerous environment. The beeping from her suit was getting faster and more urgent. Commander Hana stopped trying to reach the connections and stood very still. Her large eyes looked around the room, and Jae-woo saw something he had not expected. He saw fear, not fear of the mission or the dangerous radiation, but fear of failing her people and looking weak in front of the humans. That moment of vulnerability made Jae-woo's decision for him. He could not stand there and watch someone struggle when he had the ability to help. Cultural Rules were important, but safety was more important. He took a deep breath and walked slowly toward Commander Hana. "Excuse me, Commander Hana," he said in a quiet voice, "I can see that your rear interface connections are not complete. Would you allow me to help you with them?" The question hung in the air like a challenge to everything the Villani believed about personal space and independence. Every person in the docking bay stopped what they were doing and watched the other Villani team members turned to stare at Jae-woo with expressions of shock. Some of them made soft sounds that might have been gasps or warnings. The human team members held their breath, waiting to see what would happen. Commander Hana looked at Jae-woo for a long moment. Her silver eyes seemed to be weighing different options. He could almost see her thinking about her cultural training versus her practical needs. The beeping from her suit continued, getting more urgent. Finally, she spoke in a voice so quiet that Jae-woo had to lean closer to hear. As she paused and seemed to be struggling with the words, "Yes, I would accept your assistance, but please, you must be very gentle. This is very difficult for me to allow." Jae-woo nodded and moved behind her with careful, slow movements. He could feel everyone watching him and knew that this moment would be remembered by both species for a long time. His hands were steady, but his heart was beating fast as he examined the connection points on her suits. Back, the technology was incredibly complex. There were 12 different fiber optic cables that needed to be connected to specific ports. Each cable carried different types of information, from life support data to neural interface signals. The connections had to be made in the right order or the system would not work properly. As Jae-woo began working with the first connection, something unexpected happened. Commander Hana became completely still, not just quiet or motionless, but frozen like a statue. Her breathing became deeper and more rhythmic. The light patterns on her suit began to glow brighter. Jae-woo continued his work, focusing on each connection with the same care he would use on the most delicate equipment. He made sure each fiber optic cable was properly aligned before gently inserting it into its port. The connections made soft clicking sounds as they locked into place with each connection. Commander Hana seemed to become more relaxed. The tension in her shoulders decreased and the light patterns on her suit began to pulse in a steady rhythm that reminded Jae-woo of a slow heartbeat. Her breathing became even deeper and more peaceful. The other Villani team members were watching with fascination. Their own suits began to show unusual light patterns, as if they were responding to whatever was happening to their commander. Dr. Park was taking notes and monitoring readings on her handheld scanner with obvious scientific interest when Jae-woo reached the neural interface connections near Commander Hana's neck. He noticed that his touch seemed to have an even stronger effect on her. The light patterns on her suit became brighter and more complex. She made a soft sound that was almost like a sigh of relief or contentment. Each connection required precise alignment with ports that were directly linked to her nervous system. Jae-woo worked with extra care, knowing that these connections were the most important for her safety and the most sensitive. For her to feel, his movements were slow and deliberate, like he was handling priceless artwork. Finally, he connected the last cable and stepped back to check his work. All 12 connections were secure and glowing with steady blue light. Commander Hana's suit stopped beeping and began humming with a pleasant musical tone that indicated everything was working perfectly. Commander Hana remained motionless for several more seconds. After what felt like a very long time, she slowly turned around to face Jae-woo. Her expression was completely different from before. The formal, distant commander was gone. Instead, she looked at him with something that seemed like wonder or amazement. That was, she paused, searching for words in human language. "Unexpected. You have very gentle hands. For a human, I did not know that your species could be so careful and precise." The other team members had noticed the dramatic change in their leader's behavior. Dr. Park looked especially intrigued from a scientific viewpoint. The other Villani were making soft musical sounds among themselves that might have been their form of excited conversation, but it was Commander Hana's next words that surprised everyone in the docking bay the most. "When we return from this mission, could you help me with my equipment again? But perhaps you could take more time with the connections. I would like to understand this experience better." The request was so unexpected that even the translation computers seemed to hesitate before converting her words. Everyone realized that something significant had just happened, something that might change how humans and Villani work together forever. The repair mission began 2 hours after the equipment incident, and everything went better than anyone had expected. Commander Hana worked alongside the human team with a grace and skill that amazed everyone. Her knowledge of space technology combined with human creativity produced solutions that neither species could have discovered. Alana Jaiwu found himself working directly with Commander Hana on the most complex parts of the relay repair. In the zero-gravity environment around the massive, broken structure, he watched her move like she was dancing through space. Her environmental suit flowed around her body, and the light patterns seemed to respond to her thoughts and emotions. During their first rest period, Dr. Park pulled Jaiwu aside to a quiet corner of their temporary workspace. "I have been watching the Villani team's behavior very carefully," she said while checking her scientific instruments. What happened during the equipment preparation was not just unusual, it was completely unprecedented. Park showed Jaiwu her readings from various scanners and monitoring devices. Commander Hana's vital signs changed dramatically when you helped her with the suit connections. Her stress levels dropped by 60% and her brain activity shifted to patterns we have never seen before in Villani physiology. She continued explaining her theory. The Villani have developed incredible technology over thousands of years, but this advancement may have come with an unexpected cost. They have become so focused on individual achievement and self-sufficiency that they have lost something important about social connection. Park pointed to more data on her scanner. When you touched her equipment with such care and precision, it may have triggered responses that have been suppressed in Villani society for generations. They are not just reluctant about physical contact, they may actually be starving for it without realizing what they are missing. Meanwhile, Commander Hana was having her own discoveries about human behavior. As she worked with Jaiwu and the other team members, she found herself studying their casual interactions. She watched how humans naturally helped each other with tools, shared equipment without being asked, and worked in close physical proximity. These behaviors, which her cultural training had taught her to view as primitive or inefficient, suddenly seemed warm and caring. The humans treated each other like family members, even though they were just co-workers. This was completely different from Villani society, where even family members maintained formal distance. During the second rest period, Commander Hana approached Jaiwu directly instead of speaking to the group. "Jaiwu," she said, using his personal name for the first time, "I've been thinking about what happened earlier today. In my culture, we believe that independence and self-sufficiency are the highest virtues." She gestured toward the human team members who were sharing food and helping each other check equipment. "But watching your people work together, I am beginning to think we may have lost something valuable. Your species seems to understand something about cooperation that we have forgotten." Commander Hana paused and seemed to be choosing her words carefully. "Would you be willing to help me with my equipment again tomorrow? Not because I cannot do it myself, but because I want to understand the human way of caring for teammates through actions." Her request revealed curiosity about human nature that went far beyond their professional mission. She wanted to learn not just about human technology, but about human emotions and social bonding. This was remarkable for a species that had always prided itself on logical thinking and emotional control. Jaiwu agreed immediately and suggested they could make it a learning experience for both of them. "I can explain what I am doing as I work," he offered, "and you can teach me about how your technology connects to your nervous system. Maybe we can both learn something new." The idea excited Commander Hana in a way that surprised both of them. Her suit began showing light patterns that Dr. Park later identified as expressions of anticipation and pleasure. These were emotions that Villani rarely displayed openly, especially in professional settings. The next day, the equipment preparation became a cultural exchange session that fascinated both teams. Jaiwu worked more slowly and explained each step of his process in human culture. He said while carefully connecting her neural interfaces, "Helping with personal equipment is how we show that we care about our teammates' safety and success." Commander Hana listened with intense focus, asking questions about human social bonding and teamwork. "Your touch feels very different from what I expected," she admitted. "Humans are supposed to be crude and impulsive, but your hands move with such precision and care. Each connection you make feels intentional and respectful." As Jaiwu worked, she described what she was experiencing. When you connect the spinal interfaces, it creates a sensation of completeness that I have never felt before. Our automated systems make the connections quickly and efficiently, but they lack something important that I am only now beginning to understand. Other team members from both species began gathering to watch the process. The other Villani showed obvious curiosity about what was happening to their commander. They had never seen her so relaxed and responsive. Her usual formal manner had been replaced by something more natural and open. Dr. Park was recording everything for future study, but even she was surprised by how quickly the relationship between human and Villani team members was changing. The cultural barriers that had seemed impossible to cross were dissolving through simple acts of mutual care and respect. Commander Hannah, second in command, a younger Villani named Kira, eventually approached Dr. Park with questions. We have watched this process twice now, and the effects on Commander Hannah are remarkable. Her stress levels remain low, her performance has improved, and she seems more connected to the team than we have ever seen. Kira continued, we have sophisticated, automated systems for suit preparation that are faster and more efficient than manual methods. But the psychological benefits of your human approach seem to be significant. This suggests that our focus on technological solutions may have overlooked important aspects of team bonding. Dr. Park saw an opportunity to expand their cultural understanding. With both commanders' permission, she proposed pairing human and Villani team members for equipment preparation. They would carefully monitor the physiological and psychological responses to see if the benefits could be shared among the entire group. The experiment began the next day, and the results exceeded everyone's expectations. Villani team members who received careful, respectful assistance from human colleagues showed improved mood, better stress management, and enhanced performance. All of them reported feeling more connected to the team and more confident about the mission. The humans also benefited from the exchange. Working with Villani, technology required a level of precision and mindfulness that improved their own technical skills. They learned to slow down and pay attention to details they might have missed before. The combination of human warmth and Villani precision created something entirely new. By the end of the third day, both teams were working together with a harmony that surprised everyone. The cultural differences that had seemed like impossible barriers were becoming sources of strength. Each species brought unique abilities that complemented the others perfectly. Commander Hannah began spending more time with the human team members outside of work periods. She was fascinated by their casual conversations, shared meals, and informal social bonding. These simple human activities had no equivalent in Villani culture, but she found them deeply satisfying. The repair mission was completed ahead of schedule and with better results than anyone had hoped. But everyone realized that the technical success was less important than what they had discovered about cooperation between different species. The simple act of helping with equipment had opened a door to entirely new possibilities. The fourth day of the mission brought unexpected developments as the cultural exchange experiment expanded beyond anyone's original plans. Commander Hannah had requested that the equipment preparation sessions become formal training opportunities, where both species could learn from each other. Jae-woo found himself in the unusual position of being a teacher about human social customs to an advanced alien species. As he helped Commander Hannah with her environmental suit that morning, he explained the deeper meanings behind human cooperation. When humans help teammates with personal equipment, we are doing more than just making connections, he said while working on her spinal interfaces. We are showing trust because we allow others to handle things that keep us alive. We demonstrate care because we take time to do the work properly instead of rushing. Commander Hannah absorbed every word while her suit monitors showed readings that Dr. Park was documenting with growing excitement. The Villani leaders' stress hormones had dropped to levels never recorded in their species during technical operations, while neural activity in areas associated with social bonding had increased dramatically. Your species' approach to mutual assistance creates chemical changes in our nervous systems that our medical science did not predict. Commander Hannah explained, when you make each connection with such careful attention, it triggers responses in my harmony centers that normally only activate during deep meditation. The revelation was significant. Villani society had developed advanced meditation techniques to achieve mental balance and emotional control. But the simple human act of respectful physical assistance was producing the same beneficial effects naturally through social interaction. As Jae-woo continued working, Commander Hana described what she experienced with each type of connection. The basic life support links felt like security and safety when you connect my oxygen and power systems. I feel protected in a way that automated systems never provided. The communication interfaces created sensations of connection to the team. When you align the neural links properly, I can sense not just the technical network but the caring intention behind your work. It makes me feel part of something larger than myself. But it was the spinal connections that produced the most profound responses. These neural interfaces linked directly to Villani emotional processing centers. When Jae-woo connected them with his characteristic gentle precision, Commander Hana made soft musical sounds that indicated deep contentment. This particular connection point, she explained breathlessly, is tied to our species' most fundamental need for social harmony. When you connect it with such care and patience, it creates a feeling of completeness that I have never experienced through our automated systems. Dr. Park was not the only one taking notes. The other Villani team members had begun their own informal study of human behavior. They watched how humans shared tools, offered help without being asked, and worked in comfortable physical proximity. These behaviors were completely foreign to their culture, but clearly beneficial. Kira approached Jae-woo during a break period with questions that revealed how much Villani thinking was changing. We have observed that humans frequently touch each other casually on shoulders, arms, and hands. These contacts serve no obvious technical purpose, but seem to improve team performance. She continued, in our society, physical contact is reserved for the most intimate relationships and occurs rarely even then. But your species uses touch as a form of communication and emotional support. This suggests that we may have misunderstood the purpose of physical interaction. The conversation led to another breakthrough when Kira asked if she could experience the equipment assistance process herself. She was nervous about the cultural implications, but curious about the psychological effects that Commander Hana had described. Agreed to help Kira with her suit preparation while Dr. Park monitored the session. The young Villani had different responses than her commander. She was more tense initially, but gradually relaxed as Jae-woo worked with the same careful attention he had shown Commander Hana. When the session ended, Kira was visibly transformed. Her posture was more relaxed, her light patterns were brighter, and she seemed more confident. This is remarkable, she said. I feel more connected to the team and more prepared for challenging work than our automated systems ever achieved. Word of the successful experiments spread through both teams and requests for paired equipment preparation sessions increased. Every human team member was paired with a Villani colleague, creating combinations that produced unique results based on individual personalities and needs. Dr. Park documented everything and began to see patterns in the data. Human team members who worked with Villani partners became more precise and mindful in their technical work. The meditative approach that Villani brought to every task improved human performance and reduced errors. Meanwhile, Villani team members who received assistance from human partners showed improved creativity and problem-solving abilities. The emotional support and social connection that humans provided naturally helped Villani think beyond traditional solutions. The most significant changes occurred in Commander Hana, who had experienced the most sessions. She began displaying behaviors that were unprecedented in Villani leadership. She started checking on team members personally instead of relying on automated reports. She offered encouragement and support during difficult tasks. Her relationship with Jae-woo had evolved beyond the original equipment assistance. They had become genuine friends who shared ideas about technology, culture, and philosophy. Commander Hana was learning to appreciate human informality while Jae-woo gained deeper understanding of Villani precision and harmony. During their daily preparation session, Commander Hana made a request that surprised everyone. I want to learn how to provide equipment assistance to others, she said. My people have been isolated by our own efficiency for too long. You have shown me that caring for teammates through physical assistance creates bonds that benefit everyone. Jae-woo began teaching Commander Hana the human approach to helping others with equipment. The lesson required her to overcome thousands of years of cultural conditioning about physical contact and independence. But her motivation was strong because she had experienced the benefits personally. Her first attempt to help Kira with suit connections was awkward because Villani hands were not designed for the delicate work that humans perform naturally, but Commander Hana approached the challenge with the same determination she brought to complex engineering problems. With practice and coaching from Jaewoo, she learned to provide the careful, respectful assistance that had transformed her own experience. Kira responded positively to her commander's attention, and the other Villani team members watched with fascination as their leader demonstrated completely new behaviors. The breakthrough moment came when Commander Hana successfully completed a full equipment preparation session for another team member. The psychological readings showed that both Villani benefited from the interaction. The one receiving help gained the security and connection effects, while the one providing help experienced satisfaction and purpose. By the end of the week, both teams had been completely transformed. The formal distance that had characterized Villani behavior was replaced by something warmer and more connected. The casual efficiency of human teamwork had gained precision and mindfulness from Villani influence. The mission to repair the space relay had succeeded beyond all expectations, but everyone realized that the technical achievement was less important than the cultural breakthrough they had experienced. Together, they had discovered new possibilities for cooperation that could benefit both species for generations. Commander Hana announced during the final team meeting that she wanted to propose extending the cultural exchange indefinitely. The techniques we have developed here could revolutionize how our species work together. This discovery is too important to end with this single mission. The success of the relay repair mission had attracted attention from both human and Villani governments, but the cultural breakthroughs achieved by the joint team were creating even more excitement. Scientists from dozens of species were requesting information about the cooperation techniques that had produced such remarkable results. Commander Hana spent her final days at the station working with Dr. Park to document everything they had learned. The simple act of equipment assistance had evolved into a comprehensive understanding of how physical care and emotional support could bridge cultural differences between species. As the teams prepared for departure, Commander Hana requested one last equipment preparation session with Jaewoo. This time she wanted to understand every detail of the process so she could teach others. I want to bring this knowledge back to my people, she explained. Our society has forgotten the importance of caring for each other through physical assistance. Jaewoo helped her with the suit connections one final time, but now their interaction had become something like a ritual. Both of them understood the deeper meaning behind each step. The careful alignment of interfaces represented respect for the other person's safety. The gentle insertion of connections showed trust and care. As he worked, Commander Hana shared insights that would reshape both species' understanding of cooperation. In Villani culture, we have a concept called Ranukel, which means harmony. That comes from perfect technical precision, but what you have taught me is Ranukalar harmony that comes from caring precision. She continued explaining the difference is not just about making correct connections, it's about making them with the right intention. When you help me with my equipment, you are not just solving a technical problem. You are showing that my safety and success matter to you personally. This revelation had profound implications for both species. Humans had always known that caring about teammates improved performance, but they had never understood the neurological and psychological mechanisms involved. The Villani had developed incredible technical abilities, but had lost touch with the social foundations that made cooperation truly effective. Dr. Park presented her research findings to representatives from both governments. The data showed that combined human Villani teams performed 30% better than single-species groups. The improvement came not just from combining different technical skills, but from the enhanced social bonding that their cooperation methods created. The psychological benefits were even more significant. Villani team members who experienced human-style assistance showed permanent improvements in stress management, emotional regulation, and creative problem-solving. Human team members who learned Villani precision techniques became more focused, mindful, and technically accurate, but the most important discovery was how the cooperation techniques affected leadership and decision-making. Commander Hana had become a completely different kind of leader through her experiences with human teamwork. Her rigid, formal command style had been replaced by something more Flexible and responsive, she now checked on team members, personally offered emotional support during difficult tasks, and made decisions based on both technical analysis and team welfare. This leadership style was revolutionary in Volani society, where commanders traditionally maintained strict emotional distance from their subordinates. The implications extended far beyond the two species involved. If careful, respectful physical assistance could bridge the gap between humans and Volani, it might work with other species as well. The galaxy contained thousands of different civilizations that had difficulty cooperating due to cultural differences. Representatives from the Galactic Cooperation Council requested a full briefing on the mission results. They were particularly interested in the scalability of the techniques. Could the methods that worked for small teams be adapted for larger organizations? Could they be modified to work with species that had completely different physical forms? Commander Hana worked with human diplomats to design a proposal for expanding the cultural exchange program. Her vision was ambitious. She wanted to create permanent facilities where different species could learn cooperation techniques that combined technical precision with emotional care. The proposal included plans for training programs that would teach representatives from multiple species how to provide respectful assistance to teammates from different cultures. The key principles were universal regardless of physical differences. All beings benefited from knowing that others cared about their safety and success. She is a human specialist in what was being called tactile cooperation protocols. His experience helping Commander Hana with her equipment had become the foundation for an entirely new field of study, but the changes went deeper than new job titles or government programs. The relationship between Jae-woo and Commander Hana had become a model for how different species could connect on a personal level. Their friendship was based on mutual respect, shared goals, and genuine care for each other's welfare. During their final conversation before departure, Commander Hana expressed thoughts that would influence interspecies relations for generations. When I first met your team, I thought humans were primitive creatures who relied on emotional responses instead of logical thinking. She smiled with an expression that had become familiar to all the human team members, but I have learned that emotion and logic are not opposites. They work together to create something more powerful than either could achieve. Alone, your caring makes your technical work better, while our precision makes caring more effective. The departure ceremony was emotional for both teams. They had entered the mission as strangers from different species, but were leaving as friends and colleagues who had discovered new possibilities for cooperation. The formal handshakes and official statements could not capture the personal bonds that had formed. Commander Hana made a final announcement that surprised everyone in attendance. I am requesting permission from both our governments to establish a permanent cultural exchange program. The techniques we have developed here represent a breakthrough in interspecies cooperation that must not be lost. She looked directly at Jae-woo as she continued. This mission began with a simple offer to help with equipment connections. It has become the foundation for a new understanding of how different species can work together. The universe is vast and contains many challenges that no single species can solve alone. The audience, which included representatives from multiple species, listened with growing excitement as Commander Hana outlined her vision for the future. We have proven that cultural differences can become sources of strength when approached with respect and genuine care. As the Volani ship prepared to depart, both teams knew they had participated in something historic. The repair of the space relay would be remembered as a technical success, but the cultural breakthroughs they achieved would be remembered as the beginning of a new era in interspecies relations. The simple question that had started everything, "Would you allow me to help you with your equipment?" had become the foundation for revolutionary changes in how different species could cooperate and support each other across the galaxy. 6 months after the relay repair mission, orbital station Harmony had been transformed into something unprecedented. In galactic history, the small research outpost had become the center for interspecies cooperation studies, attracting visitors from dozens of different civilizations across the galaxy. Jae-woo walked through the expanded corridors that now housed laboratories, meeting rooms, and living quarters for representatives from multiple species. His official title was Lead Human Specialist in Tactile Cooperation Protocols, but everyone simply called him the Bridge Builder. The Transformation had begun with a simple report about equipment, assistance techniques, but had grown into a comprehensive study of how physical care and emotional support could overcome cultural barriers between species. What started as helping Commander Hana with her suit connections had become a new field of scientific research. Commander Hana now held the title of Cultural Integration Director and had revolutionized Villani society in ways that amazed even her own people. She had introduced modified equipment preparation rituals that incorporated mutual assistance, fundamentally changing how Villani related to each other. The morning briefing room was filled with beings from 12 different species, all eager to learn about the cooperation breakthroughs. Their forms ranged from the crystalline Zephyrians to the gaseous nebula dwellers, but all had come seeking better ways to work with other civilizations. Dr. Park had become the station's chief researcher, and her daily reports documented remarkable progress in understanding interspecies psychology. The data showed that respectful physical assistance triggered positive responses in nearly every species tested, regardless of their evolutionary background. Key breakthrough had been recognizing that all intelligent beings shared certain fundamental needs for security, connection, and recognition. When these needs were met through careful assistance with personal equipment or tools, the benefits extended far beyond the immediate task. Jawu began each training session by demonstrating the basic principles with Commander Hana. Their partnership had become legendary among cooperation specialists, but for them it remained a simple friendship based on mutual respect and genuine care. Today, representatives from the insectoid Hive Collective were observing their demonstration. These beings had never experienced individual assistance because their society was based on shared consciousness. But they were curious about how personal attention might benefit their workers. As Jae-woo helped Commander Hana with her equipment connections, he explained each step to the diverse audience. The most important element is intention, he said. Every action must be performed with genuine care for the other person's safety and success. Commander Hana added her perspective from the receiver's viewpoint. When someone helps me with careful attention, it creates feelings of security and connection that improve my performance in all tasks. This is not just emotional comfort, it produces measurable changes in neural activity and stress hormones. The Hive Collective representatives asked questions. Through their translation devices, how can individual assistance benefit beings who share collective consciousness? Could personal attention improve their workers' efficiency and satisfaction? The questions led to another breakthrough experiment. Over the following weeks, researchers developed modified assistance techniques that worked with the Hive Collective's shared consciousness. Instead of individual equipment help, they created group rituals where human and Villani specialists provided careful attention to multiple Hive workers simultaneously. The results exceeded all expectations. Hive workers who received group assistance showed improved creativity, independent thinking, and problem-solving abilities. Their collective consciousness remained intact but gained new dimensions of individual awareness and personal satisfaction. Similar adaptations were developed for other species. The gaseous nebula dwellers could not use physical equipment but benefited from careful attention to their containment field adjustments. The crystalline Zephyrians experienced enhanced harmony when their resonance frequencies were tuned with respectful precision. Each success expanded the potential applications of tactile cooperation protocols. The techniques were being adapted for diplomatic negotiations, trade relationships, and even military alliances between different species. The research facility regularly hosted conferences where species representatives shared their experiences and developed new cooperation methods. The atmosphere was unlike anything in galactic history. Beings who had never interacted peacefully were working together on shared projects. Jae-woo often stood in the main observation deck watching ships from dozens of civilizations dock at the station. Each arrival brought new challenges and opportunities as species with completely different cultures learned to bridge their differences through mutual care. Commander Hana joined him for these observation sessions, which had become their informal tradition. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you had not offered to help me that first day? She asked. The question had become a favorite topic of discussion among the researchers. Jae-woo smiled as he considered the implications. I think about it often, but I have learned that caring for others is a fundamental part of being human. We could not have done anything else. Commander Hana nodded with understanding. The universe is vast and contains countless species with incredible technologies, but perhaps the most advanced technology is simply learning to care for each other through our actions. Their conversation was interrupted by an announcement that representatives from 3 new species had arrived for cooperation training. The station was operating at capacity, but requests for training continued to arrive daily from across the galaxy. Dr. Park approached them with her latest research findings. The long-term effects of cooperation training are even more significant than we predicted. She reported species that have implemented our techniques are showing improved innovation rates, better conflict resolution, and enhanced problem-solving abilities. The implications were staggering. Civilizations that had been stagnant for centuries were experiencing renaissance periods of creativity and growth. The simple act of learning to care for teammates from other species was producing benefits that extended throughout entire societies. As they watched the newest arrivals, Commander Hana made an observation that captured the magnitude of their achievement. We have proven that the barriers between species are not as permanent as everyone believed. When beings learn to care for each other with genuine respect, those barriers become bridges. The research facility had become more than a training center. It was a symbol of possibility for the entire galaxy. Species that had considered each other enemies were discovering common ground through shared experiences of mutual care and assistance. Wu reflected on how much had changed since that first nervous morning. When the Villani ship had arrived, a simple offer to help with equipment connections had become the foundation for a new era of interspecies cooperation. The story of their first encounter was now taught to young beings across the galaxy as an example of how small acts of kindness could create profound changes. But for Wu and Commander Hana, it remained a personal reminder of the power of reaching across differences to help someone in need. As the newest group of trainees entered the station, both friends knew they were witnessing something historic. The techniques they had discovered together were spreading throughout the galaxy, creating possibilities for cooperation that no one had imagined possible. The universe was vast and full of challenges that required combined efforts from multiple species. But now there was hope that those challenges could be met through the simple, revolutionary act of caring for each other with genuine respect and attention. Their friendship had become a model for countless others, proving that beings from completely different worlds could form deep connections based on mutual care, assistance, and shared purpose. The future looked brighter because species were learning to help each other, not just technically but emotionally and personally as well.